So looking back on our first year, how did it shape our understanding of marriage and what foundational lessons did we learn? That's the first question.
Okay.
You want me to ask the second one
No,
too, or just wait?
Let's start there.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Okay.
So I can let my thoughts play with that.
You want me to run it back one more time?
One more time, baby.
Okay. It says, looking back on our first year of marriage, how did it shape our understanding of marriage and what foundational lessons did we learn? Did you
the
learn?
The first thing that comes to mind thinking about that is the fact that, for one, we weren't even together physically for the first 6-8 months or so.
8 months.
8 months.
It was 8 months.
8 months specifically.
It was 8 months.
Yeah, so we weren't even together the first 8 months of our marriage, because we were separated.
Because of the Army. Don't say we were separated because it sounds so weird. You know, people take
distance,
stuff.
You're right.
Yeah, like the Army separated us.
Okay.
Like I was stationed in Washington.
I was stationed in Texas, in Killeen, in Fort Hood. You were stationed in Washington, and I had not yet got orders yet to get to Washington.
Thank you. Full picture. Clarity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know how people like to mix stuff up.
Yeah.
So, yes, while we were at 2 different duty stations during that time period for 8 months.
Yes.
Okay. We're here now. For one, it definitely taught me, one, that we had what it took in order to be able to continue to desire to connect with one another, even though we had that time apart. Like it didn't cause any real hindrance on our relationship and our love. And we still had that desire, to be together and work through it. And it gave us if I had to call it anything, it gave us more of a stronger desire to be with one another, because we had that time initially, even though that was outside of our control.
Yeah.
And then from that coming together, I think what really got me that first year is the fact that, for one, we didn't really know what it meant to be married, so to say.
Right.
And we didn't have any real fear in that. I think we were more in awe the first year. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna even say, like, the first year of us actually being in one household together.
Okay.
That first year after that, like, we didn't really know what it meant to be husband and wife. And we were just still being us. You know what I mean? And so.
But I think that's dope. Like, I'm sorry to like interrupt, but I think that's dope that we didn't have an idea of what that meant. Because that mean we were so open to creating what it looks like for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And like, I don't think we had a whole lot of fear or doubt or anything in there. We just kept doing what we knew to do, so to say. And I won't even say knew to do. We just kept doing what we were familiar with. And we were just loving on each other. We were enjoying our time together. We was having our little fun here and there. And we were just enjoying each other's company as much as we had it, because, granted, our circumstances was a whole lot different from a lot of people because of us being in the military. And I just remember us really being okay with figuring it out along the way. Like, I remember you, for example, teaching yourself how to cook because you wanted to be one of those wives to where, like, hey, you come home to a hot meal and stuff like that. Even though your cooking wasn't really like there yet.
It wasn't.
You were still like figuring that thing out. But for a good while, like, that was like your thing or whatever. I remember, me trying to figure out certain things like around the crib and stuff like that. And at one point in time, I think we fell into this spot where we were just doing stuff that I think people assume you should do as a married couple or whatever. But we were just flowing. Yeah. And like just figuring it out along the way. We got rid of stuff that we didn't like or that wasn't us. And then we kept the stuff that we did like that was us. Yeah. But we didn't have any real pressure on being one set specific way. And I think that probably is the biggest lesson that I've learned in our marriage that is carried on all the way up to this point, that what works for us can work for us. And it don't matter if it doesn't look right or appropriate or common or whatever the case may be. Like, as long as it's working for us, we cool with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think that's been like the biggest lesson I've learned that's actually carried on up to this point.
Yeah, that's true. I think we were so in love. Like we were so in love with each other.
Was.
I mean, we still are. Hey, we talking about year one. Okay, we talking about year one. But I mean, obviously we're obsessed with each other, but
Facts.
we were just so in love with each other and we were so interested in each other. And we grew so much together prior to marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So it just naturally flowed into our marriage of us just being interested, growing together, talking to each other, loving on each other, helping each other through life. That's just, it was so natural, so I don't think like, the bumps and obstacles people ran into or most people run into when they get married. They're like, oh, well, this was hard. The first however long was hard. I'm like, no, it wasn't hard. It was exciting because we were learning and growing so much together and just figuring it out together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, it wasn't hard. It was just new.
Yeah, that's real. And I think to back that as well, like I know a lot of people, they go into marriage or even just relationships in general with these expectations from the other person, these silent expectations. Like I didn't have any, truth be told. And then I think that came from the fact of, for one, not growing up in a household where I ever saw any of that stuff or whatever. But then also even in households where I did see it to some degree, I knew that our relationship and our marriage was our own. So I wasn't trying to cling on to somebody else's idea of marriage. And I was really okay with us creating whatever it is that we wanted ours to look like.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have any expectations from you. I had expectations of me because I was wondering, like, what does it mean to be a good husband? Like, what does a husband have to do?
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean to be a good husband? Like, and I just gave in to the idea of just, for one, asking a lot of questions and just figuring it out. And then anytime there was a need and I felt like it was my space to fulfill whatever that need was, just doing it. And like not even overthinking it, so to say.
Right.
And anytime I was curious about something, we just talk about it.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to get complicated. And I think the fact that we were so open in our communication, it made it so much better because we never put ourselves in that position where we had to guess what each other was thinking.
Right.
So I think that too was a game changer.
Yeah, and the fact that our marriage is literally built on friendship. We were the best of friends before we even started to get romantic.
Absolutely.
So that helped a lot. It's because we were already having open communications before we got romantic. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think the way our love story is so dope because it's not normal. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I love our story. I was gonna go somewhere else. So there's this thing, I don't know, I guess like concept I've seen on social media a lot is, was I a wife before I became your wife? Was I acting as though I was your wife before I became your wife? Because that's this whole thought, like she needs to be your wife before she is your wife. Like I've seen this, I don't know if it's a clip or I can't remember what it was, but it's like, yes, she needs to show like, I don't know if it's qualities of being a wife or whatever, but she's supposed to act like your wife before she's your wife. Did I do that? I'm gonna tell you that I don't think I did, but I'm just curious from your perspective. Was I your wife before I was your wife, or what? How does that work, man?
My first thought process is how I hate these little catchy sayings that just like it's like a match strikes and then it just spreads like wildfire all over social media. Because that in and of itself sounds, I ain't gonna say it sounds dumb. I won't say that. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna finish that statement.
Okay,
what I am going to say though is I don't think anybody really knows what it means to be a husband or a wife before they're that. Like I think that there are certain character traits that are ideal bringing into a marriage. But even in that instance, you still have to learn how to apply it to the person you with.
Yeah.
So it could be supporting another person. It could be loving somebody the way that they need. All of this different stuff. Mm-hmm. It means something different to every person. So when you say being a wife, not all wives are the same.
Exactly.
So you got to literally craft that person into whoever it is that you're with. Because if you're with another person, whatever it is as a husband or wife, it's going to look completely different. So what exactly does that mean?
I don't know.
You were a wife before you were a wife. What does that mean exactly?
So are you saying just all women are wives? Like
I don't know how to categorize that.
I never understand. Like sometimes I just don't understand the whole the nonsense that culture comes up with.
Yeah, it's just making it harder and more complicated than it has to be. It's like, how about let's just love each other. Mm-hmm. Let's be interested in each other. Mm-hmm. Let's show some compassion and empathy and have a desire to serve one another. And then let's just figure out the rest of this stuff along the way. Yes. And I think with that type of heart and mentality, it ain't too much that you can't overcome. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like if I would have had these expectations for you, you need to be submissive. You need to cook for me. The house need to be clean or whatever. If I had this laundry list of stuff that this is what my wife is supposed to do or whatever, I probably would have unintentionally created the most hostile environment ever, because if you ain't walking around meeting my expectations all the time, then now you're not a wife or you're not my ideal version of a wife. And so now all I'm doing is building up resentment and negative feelings towards you for not meeting my expectations that I put on you. Mm-hmm. And I still got to sit over here and do the same things as a husband. And imagine you coming up with a laundry list of stuff that I'm supposed to be perfect at. Right. And we ain't even giving each other enough time to learn to mesh together, to develop these skills and character traits of coexisting together. That is stupid. Like that literally does not even create an environment for compassion
or harmony
or even the opportunity to develop the marriage and the relationship together. Like, you just be this right now, meet my expectations. And if you're not that, move along.
Right.
What?
Right.
How human is that in anything?
And it's so selfish, because usually the person who's giving those demands aren't trying to meet the demands of another person.
Right.
Like you can't even meet their expectations. You want them to meet yours.
Yeah, you got these super high standards and expectations that you can cast out, but at the same time, you're not able to hold yourself to that same type of level of standards and expectations. Because what if somebody meets you with that same energy? Because now all you're doing is creating an environment to where you're just trying to perform for one another. And you can't even, how can you create real passion and intimacy and love and all of that?
And be vulnerable.
Yeah. I'm just performing for you at this point. Do what I like. Be all of this stuff.
Right.
Otherwise, you ain't the one. Or this ain't gonna work out. What? Yeah.
You know, I asked you that question because I knew you was gonna go a little crazy.
Stupid.
I did.
I'm not even trying to call it stupid.
It is big. That's your
I just don't agree with this. That's why I hate when culture be coming up with dumb stuff to divide, because it's divisive. It is genuinely divisive, and it gives people, when you ask a question like that, the first thing I think that a lot of people start to do is find divisive reasoning. It's saying, okay, this is what a wife should be. These are the expectations of a wife. This is what the standard is. And you create this blanket statement, right? This blanket idea or belief that literally just immediately becomes destructive. Because you still have to create an opportunity and a space to grow together and develop. And you're not going to be excellent or perfect right off the jump.
Yeah. I've personally never met a wife that was like me.
Me either.
Like, I've never met a wife like me, and that's okay. Like your marriage doesn't have to look like what everybody else's marriage looked like. Like if I was the ideal wife for every man, then every man would want me, and then that would be a problem. If you were the ideal husband for every woman would want you. We all have our own different type of preferences for what we want and desire in life. Like, And when it comes to our goals, when it comes to the people that we want to be with, when it comes to a whole lot of shit. So it is okay for us to all want different things. Like how you show up for me as my husband, only you can do that. And I am happy with that. That is perfect for me. You know what I'm saying? And I do the same thing for you. So I think too many people are they're looking to their left and their right and they trying to, okay, well, am I checking off the blocks that everybody else is checking off? Like, they ain't got shit to do. They don't got nothing to do with you. I'm sorry. What they got going on has nothing to do with you. Stay focused on what you got with yours.
Yeah.
And I think if a lot of people just focused on what they have with their person, they wouldn't need all of these external validations, these external concepts that are dumb. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Does it make sense? Like, I hope what I say makes sense.
It do. And what's interesting is I got a piece of content that I'm working on now. I don't know when I'm gonna put it out, but I'm working on it.
Okay.
But anyway, in that particular piece that I'm working on, I was talking about how in the beginning of our relationship, you know, pre-social media being the monster that it is now, we were so head down and focused on us.
Yes.
Like, we didn't have a whole bunch of external stuff coming at us in waves. There were no podcasting, one nothing. People weren't putting out video content. Mm-hmm. The only real influences, not even influences, just outside noise we had was the people around us that already didn't hold no weight when it came to us doing what we was doing.
Yeah.
But we were just so head down and focused on us. And what's so interesting about that is that was literally the first 8 years of our marriage, maybe. I think literally up until the point.
And we just hit 10 years last year.
10. So if you track the dates to that, up until about the point we started podcasting.
True.
We had been head down focused on just us and our marriage, all things relationship or whatever.
Yes.
We never looked up into the world of what relationship talking or whatever is today.
We was extremely oblivious to what was going on.
No clue.
We was like, what war? What are y'all talking about? War against men and women. What are y'all talking about? Relationships going to crap. Like, what do you mean dating is what? The dating pool is full of people. Like, what are you talking about?
Like, we didn't know none of that stuff until maybe a month, 2 months or so into starting our podcast.
Yeah.
Like, because we had gotten in that space and we was curious, like, what is people out here talking about? Mm-hmm. And granted, we years behind at this point. Like, it's already been a thing for years. We just didn't know.
Yeah.
But my point in all of that is the fact that we were so focused on us that the outside noise didn't even exist. Mm-hmm. And then when we decided to peep our head out here to see what was going on, we saw all of this confrontation and divisiveness and all of this strife and all of this other crap or whatever. And it just didn't make sense to us. Mm-hmm. But it's also because all we've ever focused on was us. Mm-hmm. We've never let that outside crap get into what we had. So we never had to even combat all of these negative ideas and thoughts and bull crap that people be pushing out here, whatever. And now men go into relationships with a whole bunch of ideas that they got from social media, while women going into relationships with all of these ideas that they got from social media, combined with their own and what they done heard other places and all of these other things that they've encountered and or experienced. So you don't even realize when you show up to whatever that situation is, you already probably got 3, 4, 5 degrees levels of friction anyway, because you tainted. Your focus is already tainted. Your thought process is tainted because you got all of this crap that's, oh, this is a red flag, or I saw this happen to somebody else over. I heard somebody talk about this on the podcast. He just did that. She did what? You know what I'm saying?
Not realizing that in itself is a red flag.
Literally.
If everything you see is a red flag, that is a problem.
All of that crap, babe. So like people, like they carrying relational baggage, just from hours on end of just taking in bull crap the way you can't even You can't even see through your own humanness and the humanness of another person and what it takes to actually be present and intentional with another person and allowing each other to grow together. Because what you don't realize is that in a relationship, especially in a marriage, it's the differences that make the relationship so amazing and beautiful. Yes. It's because I'm not even aware of this or interested in all of this other stuff. Never been exposed to it. Haven't had these experiences. Oh, but you have? My world does look completely like this. I've never done this. I've never been there. I've never done all of these things. Oh, but you have? And then you bring all of these differences
worldviews
together, and you get to learn each other, not without, like, you're not forcing opinions on each other. You're just trying to see how a person thinks. And before you know it, you build up this mindset. I'm just curious. This is why you think this way. This is why you feel this way. Oh my God, I never looked at it. And I'm not judging you. I'm just letting you feel and think and express. And I'm sharing with you what I think and I feel and what I express. And we having this exchange, and it's just becoming something that we're learning how to mesh together. And we learn that in the doing. But it's like nowadays, if you don't look exactly like me, have my personality, have my mindset, oh, then I can't rock with you. If your bag ain't like mine, bull crap.
Little do people know that if you met the exact same person like you probably wouldn't like them.
Because you probably don't like you.
Because you probably... Oh, I was going to say something, but I'm glad you said what you said.
You probably don't really like yourself.
Yeah, but...
Because all you're doing is portraying what you think people like.
This is a whole nother convo.
Yeah, I don't even know how it got
I don't know.
But yeah, bro, people be tripping. They be coming up with all this bull crap. And it just... It's just stuff that they done got from other things that are outside of it, and they don't even know that they're carrying it.
I'm like, where did this come from? I knew.
What was the doggone initial question?
Why your phone don't recognize my face by now?
Right.
Oh, shoot.
Our faces are one.
I'm messing up the code.
Lord. God, man, look, you threw me off of the main topic of the whole thing.
Oh,
the first year of marriage.
No, but okay. After that, I had asked about was I a wife before I was a wife? Yeah, I was like, wait, how did we get here?
And you messed around and struck a nerve.
I did. It was intentional too. I knew you was finna go there.
Right. Oh my God, I be hating the crap, man.
I know.
People be coming up with online.
I know. I think we done went like 30 minutes at this point.
Man, it's whatever. What was the doggone? What was the second question part of this thing? In what ways has our perspectives on the early years influenced the longevity and strength of our marriage?
What? Run it back one more time.
In what ways has our perspective on the early years influenced the longevity and strength of our marriage?
I can tell you this, and I don't even know if this really answers the question correctly. I am highly impressed by how we've handled marriage. Like, especially in our earlier years, especially with us really not knowing what to do and us being so open to figuring it out together. Like, where did that mindset come from? You know what I'm saying? So I'm always like, when I think about how we got started, it's just like, wow, like I just feel like we were very, I don't know, I guess like mature. I don't even know what a good word is to describe that. It's like, dang, like we were okay with figuring it out in our own way and not letting anybody mess up or come talk about or do anything that would mess up what we got going on. We were okay with not being distracted. We were okay with not asking everybody for advice because we knew that we wanted something special. And we also knew that what we were trying to create, we didn't know anybody else who had it.
That's real.
But it's like, I mean, I'm just in awe of us.
And I think what really like just takes it that much further is the fact that we were just open to figuring it out.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even nothing that I think we put a whole lot of thought into. Like we just gave into the process of us just being together and figuring it out along the way. I'm like, oh, I did this. Wife don't like that. I gonna do that no more. Okay, wife likes this when I do this thing or whatever. all right, I'm gonna keep doing this or whatever.
Yeah.
She asked me to do this, that, and the third or whatever. Like, all right, maybe this is my lane right now. I'm gonna make sure that I always do X, Y, Z. I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? And it just wasn't no real resistance.
I think we had so much faith in each other. And I think we built that faith in each other prior to us being married.
On top of the fact.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, on top of the fact that we were okay serving each other.
Yeah.
Like, I was okay taking care of my wife. I was okay doing the stuff that to me seemed like, hey, you know, man should do this or whatever. I'm okay doing that for my wife. Like, it was never a hassle or an obligation or nothing like that. It's like, I have someone, and when I have someone in my life who I get to do this stuff for now.
Yes.
And I'm enjoying this process because it's mine. I wanted this. So it's not a stressor.
Right.
I get to do this thing.
Yeah.
So you probably lost your thought on that.
You know me. And yeah. Well, yeah, what I was saying was that I think we just had so much faith in our ability to figure things out together because we had a track record of that anyway. So yeah, I know we believed in each other and we knew we would figure it out.
What do you think one of the bigger lessons that you've probably gotten from our earlier years of marriage that has carried on?
I think the whole comparison thing, like my ish ain't gotta look like everybody else's. And I can completely be okay and solid in that for me. Like, it's not up for debate.
Yeah.
Like, my marriage is not up for debate. This is what works for me and my husband. Yes, we talk about it publicly, but this is what works for us, and this is what it is. You choose to do what you want to do. Okay, over there. But this works for us. You know what I'm saying? And just being solid and firm in that. Like, these are our values. These are our standards. This is how we rocking. Period.
Talk, babe.
Period.
And you know what's funny on that? And this will be my last thing before I go into another rant. I think what's so amazing about that for us is the fact that, you know, nowadays, you know, you can see people who talk and complain and will bash their spouses or whatever and stuff online.
Yeah.
And people who have not gotten to a happy place in marriage or in relationships in general will see that, and then they'll start to create their idea of reality around that. Realizing that even if you see 1,000 people online complaining about marriage, in the grand scheme of what? And it ain't yours.
Yeah. Right.
And 1,000 ain't that big of a number.
Right.
It's zip codes in some cities with over 1 million people.
Right.
In zip codes, not cities. Zip codes.
Right.
So what's 1,000 people compared to the billion people in the world? You know what I'm saying? And it's like people will take this like, oh, well, I've been seeing it, so it must be true.
Right.
It ain't yours, though.
Right.
Like, your relationship is your own. Your marriage is your own. It's quite literally what you created and build it up to be. And it don't matter, man, if you ain't never seen a beautiful or thriving marriage a day in your life, that don't mean that you can't create one.
That part.
That don't mean that it can't. But we'll be so quick to say, you know, if you didn't come from a wealthy family better come for you. Oh, so that it works over there. But a happy marriage can't come from you. A fit body can't come from you. A changed and developed and well-groomed mindset can't come from you. But if you ain't come from a wealthy family, one can come from you. Stupid ass shit, man. Anyway, yeah, I'm done with that.
I love when you get all like stirred up like this.
I was about to go down another rabbit hole, man. Because people just don't be realizing.
That they'll put it in this place, but they don't realize that the same principle applies.
Yes.
In any other area.
And people mindsets just be so, they don't even think their own thoughts. They just be transferring other people's thoughts into their own language and casting that crap out. You don't even think that. You just heard it somewhere. And then you let it ramble around in your mind with a whole bunch of other people's bull crap, and you projected that bull crap out. It ain't even yours. That thought ain't even yours. That belief ain't yours.
Right.
You just got a freaking concoction of other people's bull crap in your mind that you spitting out and calling your own.
That's the world of social media. I mean, you see all the copies of memes and the trends. It's all copied stuff. Everything's copied. Nothing is original anymore.
Too many people out here nowadays are ashamed of themselves, so they can't be original.
Babe, we finna end the show right here. Let's just end it. Yeah, let's end it right here.
Hey, man, family, if y'all have enjoyed today's episode, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you thought about today's episode. It really went there today.
It did.
It did go there. But I enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And let us know what you think, man. But until next time, my name is John Trone. This is my beautiful queen.
Adoria.
We are one dope couple family. And until next time, peace and love.